We're gonna do something totally different here today. We are going to hydro dip. Now you're thinking to yourself, Andrew, is that illegal? Should I really be doing that? Should I tell my friends I do this? The answer is absolutely yes, this stuff is amazing. So let me tell you what hydro dipping is. Basically, it's a process where you can take a graphic and transfer it to any object, and the results are absolutely amazing. So today, I'm going to, of course, hydro dip an Ego leaf blower, the nozzle, and just so it looks as good as this thing performs. I mean, this is an amazing leaf blower. Now it's gonna look amazing. So I'm gonna show you all the parts I'm gonna use. I'm gonna show you the process. So if you wanna hydro dip something of your own, hopefully an Ego product, you can go ahead and do so. So let's go and get our hydro dipping thing on. So here's my Ego battery powered leaf blower that's going to get the royal treatment here today. The nice thing about it is it's got a removable nozzle here so that if I hydro dip it, I'm not gonna damage anything. Now, if what you're considering hydro dipping has some electronics in it, I'd be cautious. You might actually damage it. You can see, this is just solid plastic. So let's really quickly go over some of the supplies you're gonna need to hydro dip. The first thing is you're gonna need a graphic. I bought this on Amazon. There'll be a link down below to this product. You can see I chose this green fiery thing. I think it will complement my Ego blower really nicely. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is you can see the color of the graphic paper is sort of opaque. So depending on the color of your object you're dipping, it will actually change the look. In this case, I think I'm gonna paint my blower nozzle white to really bring out that bright green flame color. Now the other thing you're gonna need is some activator for your graphic paper. I bought this as a kit. Again, right down below is a link to both these products. Now the other thing you're gonna need, of course, is some painting tape right here. This is just so you can cover things up that you don't want the graphic to apply to. And lastly, of course, which is handy, is an X-Acto knife. All right, guys, let's jump into hydro dipping. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is thoroughly clean the object you're gonna hydro dip. Now, when you're done with that, be very careful not to touch the object with your bare hands, as you can contaminate the surface with just grease from your fingers. So for step 2, we're gonna cover areas of the object with painter's tape that you do not want the graphic to adhere to. When you're done using the painter's tape, you can just cut out the details of those graphics using an X-Acto knife. Next step is to cut the graphic paper a little larger than the object you're going to dip. So once you've got your graphic cut to the right side, the next thing you want to do is get your painter's tape and make a frame for the graphic. This will help you insert it into the water and also keep it buoyant so it floats above the water. So it's really important that you identify the two sides to this graphic paper. On one side, you have a really shiny piece. You can see how shiny that is. And on the other side, you have the dull piece. Generally, the shiny side is inserted and lays on top of the water. Once you've done that, what I suggest you do is label the frame here with the word up. That means it's going to face you, so you won't make any mistakes when you lay this on top of the water. So let's recap. We've cleaned our nozzle here, I've painted it, and also I've used painter's tape to block out any areas that I don't want the graphic to adhere to. The next is I'm gonna make a kind of like an axle so I can spin this as I insert it into the graphic. Let me show you how I'm gonna do that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the end of the nozzle and push it down into this foam like that, and that should go right in there. That ended up being perfect. Now let's go on the other side and do the same thing. So this is what your nozzle should look like when you've got it all set up with this axle. It's like a kind of on a spit here. The idea is you can roll it as you insert it on the graphic. Let me show you what I mean. I practiced this a few times. So what I want to do is drop it into the water and slowly roll forward. So I coat the whole outside of the nozzle with the graphic. Now you don't just submerge it, you have to submerge it a little bit on an angle and then slowly rotate it through the graphic. If all goes well, it should look awesome. Here we go. So the next step is to add water to your tote. Now you want to keep that water between 80 and 90 degrees on the warm side. Mine right now is cool, so I'm going to add some hot water to bring it up to the right temperature. So now it's time to place the graphic on top of the water. Remember, we want the shiny side facing the water, the dull side facing up. Now, you have to put this in really gentle. You don't want to get any water on the graphic. Here we go. Okay, looks good. Looks good. Now what you're going to want to do is just let it float there for a second. If there's any air bubbles, encourage them to the outside of the graphic. You can feel it's getting softer, the graphic now, so be really gentle. Okay. Okay, good. We got a bubble right there. Let's work that out real quick. Bubble over here. Come on, encourage them out. You got to be really careful when you do this. You don't want to poke through the material. Now, next up, we have to use the activator once it's sat on the water for about a minute, which is right about now. So get the activator and coat the whole graphic down. Okay, that looks good. So here's the moment of truth. I'm going to start on the bottom and work my way around. So here we go, fingers crossed. Insert and slowly roll as we go. Woo! Looks a little messed up on the back side, but the top looks good. Okay, so the next step is to wash it off. All right, now you gotta let it dry for a while, and hopefully this thing will look awesome when we're done. I suspect there's gonna be some problems. The concept looks good, and I think I can do it again and get a better result. One of the things I think I had a problem with is the paint actually reacted with the graphic in really weird ways. I've tried some other things and not had this problem, so I'm a little disappointed, but I think the idea is really good. And from a distance, is that looking better yet? How far do I gotta go? So if you guys are considering doing this project, make sure you leave a comment down below how it worked out for you, or if you have any questions, I will do my best to answer anything anyone adds on this video. But for now, we gotta wrap it up here because there's another video coming just around the corner that's gonna be really exciting, and you gotta see it. Catch you over there.